Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have a wild game to share with you from round 3 of the 2025 FIDE World Cup. This was played today, November 9th, on the white end, Daniil Dubov playing against Georg Meier. Alright, this is game 1 of 2 from tiebreak 2, where the time controls are 10 minutes each, 10-second increment. Both games were drawn in tiebreak 1. All right, we have here a Vienna game, knight f6, bishop c4, and knight captures e4. This sparks signals the Frankenstein-Dracula variation. White doesn't go for knight takes knight, allowing the center fork trick. Instead, we have queen h5, mate in one threat, defended, bishop under fire as well. e5, covered. Knight b5, poison knight. We'd have mate. From here, g6. Okay, queen f3, staying trained on f7. And black now blocks the queen's view of f7, plays knight f5. Another move you can see here is f5. In response to both of these moves, there is a top response, the move in the game here, queen d5, f7, hit from a few different angles. Follow up, knight h6. This is move 8. Little update here on the clocks. Dubov clearly well prepared for this particular line, this position here out of the Frankenstein-Dracula. He has not blinked yet. Still has 10 minutes in the tank. Black, on the other hand, only has about 5 minutes remaining. From here, we have d4. The idea, swipe the knight, and go for mate. Computer says a tick better is just to go one step. I want to draw attention to a top line here. There are many wild lines. I'm really just scratching the surface with this one here. It says with this line, after black first addresses the mate threat now, on f7, it says you can play bishop g5. And a point here is that if queen captures bishop, there's knight captures c7 with a fork. Let me actually just map this one out. There's two different ways you can collect the bishop depending on where the king goes here. If you go to d7, knight takes is the way. And in the case of king d8, it says you can play queen captures bishop in this case. Wants to go with king takes knight, queen captures pawn. The idea here is that if black is recapturing, there would be a fork. Okay, there is another path at this moment here after bishop g5. Bishop takes queen. Bishop takes queen. Bishop takes g2. Pretty much 3 rooks are hanging here with knight c7 looming. Okay, many wild lines out of this Frankenstein-Dracula. Again, just scratching the surface. White in the end goes 2 squares. I guess in a way this turns out to be inferior. I'm sure there's some line where having this tension ends up backfiring somewhat for white. There are 2 attackers on it. Anyhow, play here continues in the game with d6. Bishop captures knight. Mate threat addressed. And from here we have queen f3. It is saying you could still play bishop g5, but it's not as effective if the pawn is on d4 rather than d3. All right, in this game, queen f3. Pop quiz, how would you respond here? Pause the video if you'd like. Okay, black captures on b3. This is top. If you take on h6, you run into d5 with the fork. You're going to be down a piece in the end. So it's bishop captures bishop. And now, if you recapture on b3, there's bishop captures bishop. Black is considered winning there. So it's bishop captures f8. Follow up, bishop c4. Now, if black had recaptured on f8, pawn takes bishop, white is up a piece there. 2 knights versus 1 knight. So Black inserts bishop c4, two things, bishop saved and unprotected knight under fire. Follow up bishop g7, and bishop captures knight. Another pop quiz, what's your move here? Pause the video if you'd like. Okay, white captures on e5. This is one of the top moves. Another, it says queenside castles. What would not be a good idea is bishop captures rook. You're in big trouble as white if you collect this rook. Also, bishop f6 targeting the queen can be met with knight takes d4. You're on the queen, ready to take the queen with check. What would be the issue if you capture the rook? Well, this. Queen hit, c2 under fire, fork nearby. And how would you address these two problems? Queen e4 is strictly defensive. There's bishop c6, problem here on g2. Also, if you try to cover c2 with queen c3 or queen d1, I'll put on queen d1. Black is considered winning here after queen g5, despite being down a full rook, black here winning. There's a problem on g2, and there isn't a great way to solve it. For instance, if you play g3, there's now queen f5, carries two threats, supports the fork, and there's queen e4, two forks nearby. So, capturing the rook at this moment here, not a good idea. We have instead d takes e5, and now rook g8 is played. If knight d4 is played here, things are different in that queen e4 can be played. Queen e4 in this case, no longer strictly defensive. The knight lacks support. So black continues with rook g8, bishop f6, knight takes e5. Okay, bishop captures knight, and from here black goes ahead and pins the bishop. Rather than pinning the bishop, the computer wants to insert bishop c6 first. Okay, that just comes a little bit later. We have here the pin, follow up queenside castles, bishop c6 only now, queen c3, another pop quiz. What's your move here? Pause the video if you'd like. Okay, black captures with the pawn. This is the only way to play it. If you take with the queen, you're asking for rook to e1, queen from c3 supporting that move. If you try bishop captures g2 here, white can save the bishop with tempo. Queen has to stay off of the e-file. You're asking for trouble there. After the queen moves, there's knight f3. Queen supports that, and the rook is defended. Two minor pieces versus rook imbalance. White is winning that. Tremendous piece there on f6. Clueless rook on g8 with such a line. All right, in this game, we have pawn captures bishop. Now, the dust has somewhat settled on that forceful opening phase. And what we're looking at now is a bishop versus knight imbalance, and black is up a pawn. Now, as compensation for this pawn, there's a question mark here over the black king. It's impossible to ever castle kingside, and queenside, difficult controlling there in that e8 square. So we continue to develop here. Knight f3, e5 under fire, supported, final piece activated. Follow up, king f8, and from here, Dubov goes for a piece sacrifice. Knight captures e5. This is one of the top moves. Another way the computer's looking to play it, g4, g5, undermining the support there on e5. All right, Dubov goes with the piece sacrifice. And now we reach a critical moment, white working only with these major pieces. Another pop quiz. What is your move here? Pause the video if you'd like. Okay, black blunders here, plays queen f6. Black is in an only move situation. This is reminding me of the Leela Night Odds games. Only one move to stay in the game. It says here you have to play Queen H4. Points out G3, land a check, and now white in such a position would have to be careful. If you play King B1, it says after Rook G7, black is winning. The king can escape to the corner in some lines. It points out Rook E3 is top with this line, setting up Queen F6 next, checkmate. And black would have an only move in this situation to play G5 to cover F6. Calls that position equal. If black tried to cover F6 in this position with King F7, there is a rook sacrifice available. Rook D7 attracts the bishop to D7, softens the D7 square, bishop occupying it, not controlling it. And from here we would have a fancy queen maneuver, pretty much tracking the bishop next with check if King F8, Queen F6 is mate here. Check, king here, this is mate. Here, check, only move, and look at that. Now that the rook is unpinned, it can move and say checkmate. Okay, one final variation here. If black with this line right here tries to cover F6 with a queen move, you have your pick. 1, 2, 3 different ways to land a check. And next up, Queen E7 will be mate. Okay, black does not find this only path kicking off with Queen H4. We have instead Queen F6. This also would fail. Queen F7. There is a check followed by Rook E7. So the queen stays off of F7. She goes to F6. Another pop quiz. What's your move? Pause the video if you'd like. Okay. Winning way. Rook E8. Check. Black plays King F7 here. Queen is under fire. If King G7, there's Rook E7. Queen in a pin there. The queen will fall next. In the game, it's King F7. And after move 24, Queen C4, check. Black resigns. The rook is going to fall next. The queen will track that piece. If play continued with king captures rook, this is what it would look like. Queen takes rook. If the king moves, the rook falls. And if the queen blocks, we have a check, another check, and look at this dominant post. No legal moves for the king. Follow up here is Rook D1, and black will have to give up the queen. No hope from there for black. So what a game here out of this Vienna Frankenstein-Dracula variation. Dubov, the better prepared side with this line, it seems. Anyhow, your thoughts with this one, feel free as usual to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.